Malo soy for Manuia. I'm Nuali'i Eteroa Lafaele.
And I'm Julia Arnott-Neenee. And this is Tech Voyagers, a series that explores the technology and digital realm as Pasefika trailblazers.
Join us each week as we recap the latest tech news and look into the wins, challenges, and impact of technology in our Pasefika communities. Welcome back, listeners. Oh my gosh, we're here for another episode and another talanoa.
Yes. Hey, that was in sync.
That was actually. Oh my gosh, we should harmonize. Okay.
Do you want to try?
Wait, I'm Paulo as I'm flat as. Well, if you want to hear the harmonies, stay tuned for our other episodes to come to. Oh,
how's your week been, sis? How's your week been?
Oh my gosh, sis. Oh, well, it's been a few weeks, but I'm still trying to process.
Tell me.
Samoa 2023.
Ooh.
Moi moana swanky. Oh, give it up to a sister.
Woo!
But man, I know about that sister way before this pageant because her mum used to be Miss Samoa 1997.
Wait. Can we just take a step back?
Yeah.
Give me the lowdown. Miss Samoa. What is it? What do we? Give me it all.
So Miss Samoa is like an annual pageant where probably like 10 or 9 of our Samoans might come together. So these to be in the pageant, you have to either be from a region. So there's Miss Samoa, New South Wales, Miss Samoa, or even a country like New Zealand. And then if you're local, you can come in, but you just have to be sponsored. That's really the the nuts and crits of it. But they all come together for a pageant that happens in Te Wila. So Te Wila is a big festival in Samoa, and it's always at the end of the week of Te Wila where they all come together to see who will be crowned Miss Samoa.
So there's Miss Samoa Master, like the master one, and then there's other. You can be Miss Samoa New South Wales or Miss Samoa New Zealand.
Yeah. But you've got to compete. So, you know, Miss Samoa New Zealand. So last year's one was Shalom. Hi, Shalom. Yes. So she won 2022.
Yeah.
And 2023. But then the new one, I forgot the sister's name, but you all have to compete in New Zealand to be that Miss Samoa.
And then you qualify for the Master.
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 And then the Master of Miss Samoa is Miss South Pacific.
Miss South Pacific?
Yes, Miss South Pacific.
Why does that feel so emotional?
I know, right? Like, you know, around the ocean, there comes the one and only Miss
Why do I
South
feel like I'm
Pacific.
going to cry?
I know, it's beautiful.
Oh my God. So tell me what happened in Miss Samoa.
Well, it was just, everyone knows the history of the current Miss, or the new Miss Samoa. Her mum is Mary Jane, 1997 Miss Samoa, 1998 South Pacific, Miss South Pacific. So she's got a very, her lineage is Miss Samoa. So everyone knew about her.
Yeah.
And because they own like a Pasefika dance studio in Sydney.
Oh wow.
So they cover the whole Pasefika region in the work they do. So yeah, now when she went up and her talent was a sivafi. And like, man, I can't even do that with a broomstick. This girl just did it, put some gasoline on the side and she like embodied Ngā. So for those that don't know, Ngā is like the god of war in Samoa. Not a bad war, but she's just an old god that looked after the world. And man, she was like, you know how Beyonce has Sasha Fierce? She had Ngā.
I can just feel how invested you are. I feel it. So I feel like you wanted to be there.
Oi.
You wanted to commentate. You wanted to coach.
I want to be MC, you know. I want to be, the one crowning her.
Okay, so if you don't know, I think is it Digicel that sponsors it or Vodafone?
Yeah, Digicel, yes. Oh my gosh.
At Eteroa?
Yes. Get 2 for 1. Hello. What's up? You get to know about Fibre Whare and you also get us to help you.
And you're a tech company, so really the alignment.
Hello.
The brand alignment, on. I love it.
Too good.
Oh, so good, sis. Well, today's episode is actually not about the Samoa, but this is a great opening to the episode, yes. I think. Somehow I'm going to find the link. Okay, moving on. It is about education and technology today, yes. All about EdTech, the whole space of how is technology changing learning.
Yep.
Hey, changing learning. But before we get into that, we are going to go to It's on the Beat.
It's on the beat. It's on the beat. It's on the beat. Whoa! News item number 1 is Duolingo confirms its app will soon include both math and music lessons. Oh my They were so good. So just to give you a bit of a story, when I was year 10, I used to take French. Yesterday. Yes, that's right. I took French, and one of my French teacher, Miss Lucas, would help us, learn French, and also she advised all of us to use an app called Duolingo. So when I was year 10, that was 13 years ago? So the app has been there for a very long time. So they're like the heavy hitters for education and regarding languages. So what Duolingo is it's kind of a gamified way of helping an individual learn how to understand, read, and just know the language. So there's heaps of modules, quizzes to help me see, how can you figure out, how can you communicate in French, and how can you understand history, all that stuff. So Duolingo has been here for a while, and then after many years of doing languages, they've now decided to still keep the languages, but move in the avenue of math and music.
Wow.
So the reason why they did that was it all comes to COVID. They noticed very well that many of the students were needing more help in maths, and then another thing was cost for music lessons were very high. So they wanted to be the bridge or the solution for that. So while I said that they've gamified languages, they've gamified music, learning music, but also math as well. So big things coming ahead with Duolingo.
Wow.
I know, right?
I got to ask you though.
Yes.
How much of the French do you remember?
Man, I don't remember anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Bonjour.
Chat.
Je m'appelle Julia.
I was really bad at it.
It just didn't last.
It's a good app, but it didn't help me.
I am done.
And all I remember was eating the snail, because at the end of because we had a French breakfast, so we had so they did, and they brought the snails. It was interesting taste day, so take French, fam. Honestly, it's see, that's what happens when they don't put salmon in school, eh? They didn't put salmon in school.
I mean, I find that, so when you said you were starting to learn French, I was thinking, oh, interesting, because I had to, again, it was French, it was Japanese.
Yeah.
And then it was Spanish.
Yes.
Those were the three. And again, just so interesting what was championed in the curriculum at that time at the schools. But I definitely didn't have any apps or anything in like Duolingo even mentioned to me. So even thinking that when you were in year 10, that was starting to become a tool to support your learning.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Yeah, and it was cool because the school kind of handled, because these apps are not free.
Yeah.
But it was because it was under the school. The school was able to fund that for us. But it's like learning in the tip of your fingers. And it's not just in the classroom. It's on the train. It's on the bus. It's on the bus panicking for your French exam because you didn't study. But, it's access.
It's crazy to see, again, how gamification as a behavior, as a way to drive behavior change, yes, it can make you addicted to gaming and kids not getting off their things, but look how inversely it can be used for good in the access of knowledge and skills and tools. It's just so, it feels like the application of that as a way to incentivize us as humans, there's no limit on how you could apply it,
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be a limit yet.
So cool. Yeah, exactly. And it's going to keep going.
Totally.
A hologram Duolingo. Oh my gosh. Your own translator when you... it's endless.
Hey, is that a business idea?
It would probably be. It's better than the flower.
The flower one that we didn't get to.
Yeah. Oh, bless. Well, topic number 2 is AI reading coach startup Elo helps to amplify children literacy. So Elo is an app-based reading coach that's generated by AI speech recognition to help children read and gain literacy skills. So how it works is it's on an iPad or any device at home where it will have different types of books and you'll be able to, and the child will read the book but will also be coached by the AI coach. So they can help the child when they miss words, pronunciation, even, is it phonic? Yeah, phonic reading strategy.
Oh.
So, because, man, all of this all about my life, but it's news. But when I did ESOL because I was just, because Samoa was my first language, I had to learn how to read.
Yeah.
But I had to go through a lot of the phonic reading.
Oh.
But it was so shame.
What do you mean?
Because when you're in the classroom,
Yeah.
and then you know how everyone likes to be taken out of the classroom. Everyone knew that I had to get to leave the class because I had to go and learn how to read. So it's all that that transition and being like, oh, she's here to teach me how to read. If I had this when I was little, oh my gosh,
Wow,
I would be able to still stay in the class,
Yeah.
and still be part of the crew. But anyways, away from me and my life story. But how Allo works is a gamified way of also helping young ones read. But at the moment, it's done from the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
But they're working with schools to really implement this in their everyday curriculum.
Can I just say, does this give parents a free pass from having to read their kids' storytime stories?
Oh no.
That was like honestly one of the first. I was like, does that just hand over that role?
Yeah.
But love this as a tool. Love this as a way to support, again, I guess, that self-learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not to try and replace teachers or parents, absolutely not. But in the sense of trying to encourage from a young age that self-directed learning, and then also the aspect of finding opportunities outside of the classroom to grow and evolve your learning. And the more that becomes fun and the more that becomes interesting, the more that it might normalize being a lifelong learner, which really is the only way to stay up to date with how fast the world's going.
Yeah, and it's cool because I forgot to mention too that because it's gamified, it actually helps the student or the child to gain points.
Oh, cool!
So and those points will like stack up to either win a prize or something. But it really creates the incentive to read the book, get the prize.
Do you know what? I really need this for my Samoan language class.
Oh, yeah. Oh, same.
I really need some point systems.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, and just some, I have to say, because, I've tried a couple of times to, I got signed up to the PEC, I think it is. Is that, I think, and, I missed 2 classes and I got booted out of the class because it was just... It's just really hard when you're trying to. Anyway, no excuses. And then tried again with my partner, and it continued. I continued to not be able to prioritize it at that one same time every week.
Yeah,
because I always had some kind of a clash, or I needed to work on this or that, and I feel like having the flexibility of something like this, and again that self-directed learning. But if I could have a coach with me like this, so I'm not just. Sitting on my own and trying to pronounce things and just having a conversation with myself and then feeling like a boss and just I'm never going to get this. But having that feedback loop and that sort of personalized mentoring. I know. Is that another idea?
It's another idea.
Are we saying it out loud?
We're saying out loud right here, right now. But what we say there, that is the news here on Etsy on the Beat. Etsy on the Beat. Etsy on the Beat.
So on the show today, we're going to be talking all about EdTech. And EdTech is not just what we think of when we're thinking, preschool, primary school, intermediate, high school. EdTech is the whole entire space of learning, which can go into obviously adult learning. It can go into university, obviously, or outside of vocational pathways, or personalized learning, just being curious or upskilling. The whole space of EdTech is actually enormous. So in 2019, US $164 billion was spent globally on EdTech. And it's a figure that's set to balloon, and yes, I said balloon, to US $404 billion in the next 3 years. New Zealand alone has been on a similar upwards trajectory. So according to the Aotearoa EdTech Excellence Report, spending on education software was $173.6 million in 2020. And if you think about it, that's 2020, which was still potentially at the height of COVID lockdown, maybe not, maybe at the beginning. But by 2025, that's set to almost double to $319 million. And I don't even know if that, I think that could be a conservative number to be really honest. And a huge part of why EdTech is growing at such a rapid rate is one, it's population growth, so the number of humans. 2, obviously, the adoption of digital tools accelerated by COVID-19. The fact that just learning in general moved to an online space and the demand and need for digital tools has just grown. I also think that and this is maybe not necessarily just personal, but it's the relevance of some of the traditional learning paths are on the decline. So, some of the ways in which it's always, the education system hasn't been for everyone because of how it's been built and designed and created. And I personally feel like there was going to become a time when that was finally disrupted and new, more flexible, dynamic, or just different ways of learning started to be created and produced, and it becomes more normalized and respected to learn in another way. And that's really where I think, again, a lot of the change is really coming from. And another report, Hollowin IQ, is looking that the global education market is set to reach at least US 10 trillion by 2030. And it's really interesting because some of these reports have really talked about how in Aotearoa, one of the things that is on the rise and in some places and spaces is how do we as a nation, as a country, not only encourage the learning in New Zealand, but with New Zealand. So how do we actually reframe and have our point of difference in order to attract learners, especially international students, to come here and learn not only from our education sector, but from our country and our history and our heritage, and more than just what they're learning from an academic point of view, for example. So a really interesting space, and I've seen some really epic examples that's happening in extended reality. And this is some stuff that's just been blowing my mind. So some of the extended reality is, your AR, your augmented reality, VR, virtual reality, and MR, mixed reality. Ooh, there we go. So the new term is XR, which is trying to encapsulate everything really. And some of these examples, so like, I don't know about you, but and when you were in your sciences in high school, you had to dissect a frog.
Yes.
So what they're doing now is they're actually using augmented reality to not have to dissect or touch the frog anymore, but actually to be able to create the external and to look into the internal organs of a frog via AR technology.
Wow.
I know. So learning and looking in the side of the inner organs of an animal is just crazy.
How do you feel it? Because when we used to cut through it, you could feel maybe they do something that mimics it. Oh my God.
I know. And so another example is Microsoft HoloLens. It's developed a way for medical students to be able to flow through the bloodstream, isolate, enlarge, and even walk inside the components of a human body to not only understand autonomy, to learn how to treat different medical conditions.
What the
I know. Another example I've seen is that people are putting on VR headsets to actually have different experiences of what does it feel like to, for example, be put in a state of emergency. So scenarios to see how they adapt and respond to situations like a fire or something else, or extreme weather. So trying to mimic some of these things that are not necessarily easily accessible, but using that as a way to increase learning for certain either skills or roles or practices.
You know what? That feels like increased stress. Yeah, put this on so you can feel. It's always really down to the access to resource. But for some teachers who might be very difficult to do a student trip, to be able to take students and put their headsets on, for example, and make them feel like they're in France, learning French, like our episode before. I know.
Or doing tours back to the islands if they can't get to the islands, being able to walk through what would a Samoan village look and feel like.
What the heck? Because I remember you spoke about it once about how we wanted to do that for Waka Experience.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me.
Another idea.
That's another idea.
Another idea.
Patent.
But looking at the landscape and all these amazing opportunities, what's happening here locally, sis?
Yes,
Give me some examples.
Oh my gosh. So number one, we have Ara Journeys. So they're a virtual reality and augmented reality. So their kind of company is about really bringing their immersive technology to do Indigenous storytelling. But a lot of it is coming through, so they do a lot of the stuff in the Indigenous space, but a lot of it too is through the Te Ao Māori lens.
Wow.
So one of their kind of projects in Ara Journeys is called Tuwhiri in School. So Tuwhiri in School is where they go to the schools and they teach them how to build augmented designs and stuff, or even create that virtual reality space. So they will teach the kids about how to design it, and then they would base the design on, let's say, like a chief, or if not a waka that's quite significant to somewhere that they are, or like a place that has significance. Once they start building and designing it, they actually go to the place of significance, and they pull up their phones, and then pops up their design, which also explains the significance of their design to the historical place too. So it's pretty cool.
So cool.
Hard out. Like you get to design it, understand it, and build, but also still gain more of their indigenous knowledge as well. So yeah, I love that. Like I wish I had that too.
I love their blend of ancestral with modern.
Yeah.
And just bringing that together, like those different points in time, and making them both present at the same time.
I know, right? It's so cool. Because I did see some of their stuff they've done, like you can eat, and this is outside of Tūwhiri School, where they go to a landmark and then it fully changes you back to like 300 or 400 years ago. So it's actually pretty cool seeing the history, but also what, that patch of grass that you thought was a grass actually had more meaning to it too. So it's pretty cool.
Amazing.
To the
Love it.
The team at Other Journeys. The second one is Banker. Oh my gosh. So for those that don't know, Banker is a financial literacy tool for I wouldn't say children, but for kids, or for anyone actually. But it's really just helping teach those basic things that we don't actually learn at school. Like they say accounting teaches it, but it's, it's stuff like they teach them about invoices, expenses, and also equipment, or they say careers. And when I say equipment, it's like all of that is equipment to help the kids learn and stuff. So it's all gamified.
Wow.
And they learn about all things like, and it's kind of cool because when I was watching the video too, it just feels like your own personal Excel spreadsheet budget. Like you're actually trying to put yourself in a place to teach and force yourself to budget, figure out how much money you have left over, what it looks like when you have no money, and etc. But it's cool. And it's the sister is from here. That also it's a Kindle.
Yeah, Kindle Flutie.
Bless her. So they're a New Zealand company, and they're really well known around the motu. Like a lot of people use it, and I think it's pretty cool to add that into the curriculum.
Yeah,
because when I left school, and I got my first paycheck from work. Damn.
Do you remember checks, sis?
Yes, checks. Oh my gosh. I was so happy to get a book. Like that book looked so, it was heavy, could flap it around. $20, yeah. Anymore? No, that's the limit.
So good.
Too good.
Too good. Okay, well, and the third example we've got here is Kami. So Kami is a digital classroom, and they're one of the number one digital classroom apps, and they've got, I think at a time they had 30 million users, but I'm sure that's already increased to 40, 50, who knows how far they're at now. But essentially what they've been able to do is encourage the classroom to become more digitally centered or to combine and create that blended learning.
Yep.
And they're New Zealand based, really awesome. It was an idea that was sort of not necessarily born out of Auckland University, but students from there started, and then it continued to have built. And essentially, they've got a whole range of tools within their software that they've created that essentially allows a teacher and students to have more of an interesting experience together on a project. So, for example, I give you, I am the teacher, you are the student. I am using Kami software, and I'm saying, okay, look, I'm going to allocate, the task is to draw a journey map from Aotearoa back to Samoa.
Yeah.
And I want you to draw and create a waka. I want you to tell me a story. I want you to create like maybe 10 pages of this book, essentially, that I want you to work on. And so I'll give you essentially like a framework or like kind of boxes and things, and or like a PDF for you to input into. And you'll go away and you'll do that. So when you present it back to me, what I will do, or like if you hand it in, I might put in little videos of me saying, oh, what about this? Or voice notes being like, hey, Eteroa, what does this actually mean to you? Yeah. Or maybe you've done a drawing and I'll be like, oh, what about this drawing? And I'll draw on the PDF. So
that's cool.
It's kind of like, it's imagining if we were potentially like in person, but being able to have it a little bit more seamless and kind of interesting. Another really cool part about it is like the collaborative learning. So If we're, for example, all of the students are all over in parts of different parts of the city, and I'm like, okay, we're going to come and we're going to work on this project, and we're going to create the best ever Maui that there's ever been before, and we're going to draw it all together, and we're gonna, and so each person has their drawing tools. We can see who's done what, who's doing what pieces, and it's all that kind of like interactive learning and learning styles that makes it really awesome. And they've also got a really special feature that they've just recently released for students with dyslexia and wanting to actually be able to support that and find ways to support learners further on their journey.
I don't know. But you know how we spoke about the collaborative thing? Yeah. That's how work is.
It is.
Like, that's work ready.
It is 21st century skills.
I know, right? Like, that's how we work when we left school. Like, I like that. And it actually helps the teacher too, because, man, like, how many kids is in the classroom?
Wow.
Yeah, and then, like, it'll just help them remember, oh, yes, this profile is this.
Totally.
Okay, yeah, so
totally. And also for the feelings of like when you can't have the teacher tell you what they think about your project in person, being able to have a video from your teacher who's talking to you to be like, this is da-da-da-da-da. Like that will be so much more impactful or the takeaways will be richer potentially for a student.
I know. Oh, you segue that real well.
Love that.
Yes. That's cool. Well, talking about takeaways, we'll go into our takeaways. Takeaway number 1, I'll go first.
Yes.
Is that, if there's a skill you want to learn or something that you think you're passionate about, I think a big thing with what we've talked about is sometimes learning isn't always in the classroom.
Yeah.
And that, there are other... We've already mentioned it before, but there are other tools that are available for you to teach yourself. So, I think a challenge is if there's something out there, give it a chance, but always know that it's not always in the classroom. It could be in the kitchen, it could be in the garage, or it could be you driving back from work. So try it out. EdTech is there for all of us. So the world's your oyster.
Love it. Takeaway number 2. I'm going to say takeaway number 2. I'm going to say it here with my chest and my hand is doing this.
Let's go.
Is that Whaibawhale is going to have an EdTech play.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the play is, but my takeaway out of doing this episode, out of researching this, is that this feels like the right play and the right space and like, I feel like we've got something here. I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to manifest it in my takeaway right here.
Exactly. Because we do that work. For those that don't know, we have funnels.
We do.
We do. And it's just putting that all together in a package.
So takeaway number 2 is, what is it called? Watch this space. Oh my gosh, that took me so long.
Watch this space, fam. It's coming.
Whaibawhale EdTech is on its way. Oh, amazing. Well, that was our EdTech episode. Yes. Our learning, how learning is changing, how we're manifesting a future for Whaibawhale in the EdTech space. But catch us next week. We'll be talking about more intersections with the tech sector.
You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn if you want to know or actually want to hear more from us. Until then, tō whāsoi 4, and we'll see you then. Yes.